Hello, good day to you wherever you're watching from. Thank you for tuning in to Home Safety, what you need to know. And if you are new on this page, you're highly welcome. This is where we discuss safety topics in simple, easy to understand format. And so kindly smash the subscription button, like our page, and click the notification button for subsequent series. If you have not watched any of our series, kindly go to our page to watch our food safety, what you need to know. And this is home safety, what you need to know. And today we'll be discussing home fires, what you need to know. So come along with me now as we discuss home fires. Home fires, what you need to know, episode 1. And so we'll be talking about the definition of fire, the basic elements of fire, home fire hazards, and what are the simple ways to eliminate home fires. You know, in this series, we always talk about prevention. We are talking about proactiveness, what you need to know with respect to being proactive. Did you know that fire kills more people every year than any force of nature? But at the same time, fire offers extraordinary helpful things that we do. It helps human form of portable light and heat. It also gives us the ability to cook food, because without food, you know, we won't be able to survive. And it is also used to do a lot of things like forging of metal, like doing pottery, like hardening bricks and all that. So fire has a very important place in our lives, and in our existence, in human existence. But at the same time, it can also be dangerous if it is mishandled. So the main aim of this sensitization is just for us to understand what are the things we need to do with respect to fire, and how we can reduce the hazards as much as possible. And so what exactly is fire? Fire is a chemical reaction that gives off light and heat. It is also a chemical, is also known as a chemical process. And the another name for fire is combustion. So fire is helpful, it is useful, but it can be very dangerous. It can destroy or burn down a house. It can burn down an environment. And so we need to know what exactly do we need to do with respect to fire. What are the basic elements of fire? For any fire to exist at all, it requires 3 basic elements. And what are the 3 basic elements that it requires, which is oxygen, heat, and fuel? Heat, oxygen, and fuel. And so these 3 come together to form what we call a fire triangle. So a fire triangle is also known as a combustion triangle. Now, I said earlier that fire is also known as combustion, and so combustion triangle. And so these 3 important components are important. Without these 3 components being together, there can be a fire. Please note that. And so the basic element of fire, although further research proves that there is a 4th element, and the 4th element is the chemical reaction. It's a chemical chain reaction. So in some school of thought, you will hear fire tetrahedron or fire triangle. So fire tetrahedron is just putting the 4th element, which is a chemical reaction. What it means is that even if the 3 of them exist, if there is no reaction between the 3 of them, then there won't be an occurrence of fire. So that is a fire tetrahedron. You know, I always try to enlighten us, but what we are most important, we are most conscious of today, or what I really want to stress today, is the 3 elements of fire and what we need to do with respect to the 3 elements of fire. So the first thing we'll talk about is fuel, and the fire cannot ignite without an object or material present to enable the fire to burn. So home and our homes consist of different combustible material like wood, like paper, like oil, like fabric. So anything that burns at all is a fuel. Anything at all, whether it is solid, whether it is liquid, and whether it is a gas, anything that can burn is a fuel. And so what exactly is heat? Heat, without sufficient heat, the fire cannot begin at all. So that is why heat is the only thing that it helps to ignite a fire and also to keep it burning. So some combustible materials in the presence of heat will succumb to the heat, and then it will result into a fire. And then the third component, which is the oxygen. Fire requires only 16% of oxygen to burn. And in the environment, in the atmosphere, we have 21% of oxygen. So that is a natural thing that is in the environment. The oxygen is always there. And so it is an oxidizing agent and will significantly accelerate the chemical reaction to take place. So the three elements of fire, we have the oxygen, we have the fuel, and then we have the heat. What exactly is fire hazard? Fire hazards. So we'll talk about fire hazard. Definition of fire hazards. Fire hazard is any action, materials, or condition that might increase the size or severity of a fire, or that might cause the fire to start. Anything, any action, any material, any condition that will cause fire to start is, or increase the severity of the fire, is a fire hazard. So if all materials are carried out in an unsafe way or in an unsafe condition, it can result into a fire. You know, in the previous series, we talked about unsafe condition and unsafe act. So the unsafe condition and unsafe acts can increase the severity of a fire occurrence. And so what are the leading 5 causes of fire in the home? The first one is unattended cooking. The second one is unsafe use of home cookers, unsafe use of heaters, boiling rings, iron, etc. Malfunctioning or overloaded electrical connections, open flame, use of candles, smoking. All these are the 5 leading causes of home fires. And so we just talk about the 5 causes briefly. Cooking, unattended cooking causes fire, and availability of fuel on counter surfaces and stoves. So when we are cooking, when we have all the other fuel around us, and heat is already there, that we are the fire we are using to cook already, so it can result into a fire. So when most of the time, when we have kitchen fires from this, is when the person is cooking and probably left and forgot about the cooking, or maybe probably was tired and slept off and all that. You find out that whatever was on the stove can result into a fire. And if we have fuel around it also, it will accelerate the fire occurrence. Home appliances, misuse of home appliances, leaving it plugged to the power source for too long, having it close to fuel can also result into a fire. Can we see this iron burning? Because the iron was there plugged to a particular home source, and it was placed on the cloth that it was ironing. So it resulted into a home fire. And then electrical fires. Fires can be caused by malfunctioning electrical circuits or electrical outlet or faulty wiring. So it is very important for us to understand some of these details so that we will know what to do with respect to fire prevention in our home. Smoking. The can lead to home fires because some of the smoking lids can drop on the floor and drop on carpets and other flammable substances, drop on the bed and all that, and it can also cause fire. So, and the last one, which I really want to stress, is candle. Candle is an open flame, and we use it for celebration, we use it for as light in the house. So, and when a candle is left unattended to, it can result into a fire. So it should be extinguished before every candle, any open flame at all. As soon as you want to step out of that particular room, it should be extinguished. So it is important for us to know candle has caused a lot of damage, a lot of havoc to so many homes. Simple ways to eliminate home fire hazards. What are the simple ways to eliminate this hazard that we have talked about? Eliminate cooking fire hazards. Keep stove and counter surfaces free of clutter. Never leave your cooking unattended to. So it's very important. Whenever we are cooking, as much as possible, we have said that the 3 elements of fire is fuel, oxygen, and heat. And we know that when we are cooking, the heat is available, oxygen is available in the atmosphere. So what we need to make sure that fuel is far away from our cooking. Safe use of home appliances. We need to make sure we never leave our home appliances unattended to. We should keep all home appliances connected to power source when not in, and when not in use, as much as possible, we should keep it away from fire. And if you are in a place where we have fluctuations in power supply, as much as you're leaving the table that you're using to iron, kindly remove it from the power source or whatever you're using, the boiling rings, the heaters, it should be removed from power source. And then we need to be proactive with our electrical systems. Occasionally, we need to inspect our electrical system and lighting fixtures as much as possible. We should also avoid overloading our sockets and be conscious when using open flame. Like I've said before, never leave them unattended to. If you want to leave a room, kindly make sure that you extinguish the candle, and then when you want to come back in, you will light it if you return. And as much as possible, let's maintain 2-foot circle of safety around the lighted candle. It should not be near clothing or near books or near curtains, because you know that those are fuel. Those are fuel. So they, as much as possible, we keep them away from fuel, and always place candle on non-flammable surfaces. As much as possible, we see a lot of home fires that happen due to candle was placed on a flammable surface. So it's important for us to place it on non-flammable surfaces. So be safe always. Eliminate smoking fire hazard. If you smoke, like I've said before, the best way to prevent the smoking fire incident is not to smoke at all in the house. So if you smoke, be sure to put it out any lit bulb fully and not just to toss them. And also you can also use ashtray that cannot tip over. So to stop a fire is not to allow it to happen at all. You know, we said it in previous series, we should spot it, assess it, and eliminate it. So as much as possible, we need to understand that the 3 basic elements of fire is fuel, heat, and oxygen. So we need to make sure that we don't allow the chemical reaction to happen at all. So till we see ourselves in the next series or the next episode of Fire, What You Need to Know. Bye for now. Kindly click the subscription button, subscribe to our page, and like our page also. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.